I lived like Joe Rogan for 1 month straight to try to get on his podcast, but I failed miserably, and let me explain why.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Now, originally, I wasn't gonna share this story at all. In fact, I was going to archive every bit of content I had and not let a single soul know what happened. But after rewatching the footage over and over again, I realized that there is a story to be told from my failure. And that is where we start, in August of 2023.
Are you gonna take me home tonight?
I was 18 years old, and I just finished my Living Like FaZe Rug series in February. It was a success. I was able to meet FaZe Rug and get my most viewed video till this date with him. After that successful series, I sat and wondered what my next steps were going to be. And well, the only thing that felt appropriate and made sense to me was trying to get on the biggest podcast in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience. Yeah, I know, it sounds completely delusional. In fact, I agree with you. But at the time, I looked at it as ambition, not delusion, which is why I immediately started planning. And one of the first steps was curating the idea, which was this: Living Like Joe Rogan, LLJR for short. Now, this series consisted of me adopting Joe Rogan's lifestyle as my own and documenting it all on the internet, in hopes that Rogan would come across the series and invite me onto his podcast. From the foods he likes, the movies he watches, the clothes he wears, and the activities that he does on a daily basis. I practically knew Joe Rogan's daily routine, and I've never even met the guy. So with that being said, the idea was set in stone. 10 different episodes with 10 different topics, all revolving around Rogan. It sounded good on paper, but the execution was a completely different story. And well, that's where we start, on August 2nd of 2023, the first filming day of the Living Like Joe Rogan series. And well, it took place at a baseball game. You see, Joe Rogan has had many different careers through his life, and the one that most people know him from is acting. So I went back to the past and decided to relive one of the very first shows that he has ever acted in, and that was Hardball, a drama/comedy show about a baseball team.
You know what, man? When it first started out, it was fun. And then what happened was the network had decided for some reason that they weren't strong enough to run the show. So they brought in this guy who was a showrunner. He was terrible. And I didn't get along with him at all. And they were actually close to firing me, very close to like killing my sitcom career completely just by having no filter. But I was one of the stars of the show. It was about a baseball team, a fucked up baseball team. And I was the guy who was always causing trouble and wrecking his car and going crazy. And so they were having a real problem.
Now, the most accurate way that I thought of in capturing this part of his life was by running on a baseball field myself. Now, I wasn't just gonna show up to any local Little League baseball field and just storm it mid-game, mainly because I'm trespassed from every Little League field in the area. I wanted to do it big. I wanted to leave a message. I wanted to run across the field of an MLB game holding a flag of me and Joe Rogan on it. Because I knew if I managed to pull that off, then it would go viral and Joe Rogan would already know who I am just by the first episode. Outfit of the day check? Hold up. Oh, when the sun's on me as well? You guys are probably wondering, Amr, what the hell are you wearing? You're wearing a flat cap with a black leather fanny pack. And what I have to say to you guys is, I'm living like Joe Rogan. I have to look like him. I have to act like him. I have to fucking... Did you get that shit? Watch. That was good, right? It was like how Joe Rogan would do it. We're currently heading to the game right now. You can get a cool little shot of the stadium as it's, next to the 7-Eleven. You guys will later find out what is inside this flag whenever I'm 10 toes down on the freshly cut green grass, which is also called the baseball field. Now, the plan I had didn't come into fruition. I had the flag with me, but before I even thought about getting onto the field, I was automatically tackled by security. We got this, dude. We're here. We're inside. We infiltrated the building. Ma'am, do you like it? You don't like it?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I need to take it out.
Oh, okay, I was gonna put it in my bag. Is it okay if I grab it?
I need to take it up. Robert!
What just happened? Yeah, it's just a picture of me and my friend. He likes baseball.
You can take it upstairs and we'll find out, okay?
Yeah. If anything, they'll have to leave it at customer service, and when you leave, you gotta pick it back up.
Can I bring it? So I can't just put it in my bag,
Yeah, take it
please?
to customer service. Once we see it, we gotta take it.
Now, from that statement alone, I could tell that Robert doesn't ask for consent. Just like me. Okay, it's 5 a.m. right now, and to be completely honest, I set up the camera in the middle of me editing just so I can make that simple joke in hopes that you guys laugh and also like the video while you're at it. I do ask for consent, by the way. I got packed up.
You got kicked out?
Yeah, are you guys able to pay my bond? It would be like $10,000, but can you guys pay it? I bet. That's me and my best friend. He wanted to be here, so... Oh, no, we're allowed to film. I mean, just put it down, but don't throw it.
I called the supervisor just to get an okay.
Okay. I appreciate you for being nice and kind. Thank you. It's me and my uncle. He couldn't be here, unfortunately.
Joe Rogan is your uncle?
Like, long uncle. You see, I have the hat and the fanny pack like him. The security of the event was already on high alert about me, so me trying to pull off storming the field whilst all the guards were watching me didn't seem possible. That, and the fact that if I stormed the field, I would have to pay thousands of dollars in fines and spend 24 hours in the county jail. That was more than enough to make me back down and not do as I said. So the first day of this series wasn't a success. I mean, the only content I got was talking to random strangers at the concession and getting confronted by security for holding a simple flag up. Although it didn't go smoothly, I still had hopes that I'll be able to continue this series, which is where we fast forward to August 5th in Dallas, Texas, where Jake Paul was going to be fighting Nate Diaz.
That's what you hearing, listen. That's what you hearing, listen. That's what you hearing, listen.
Now, I wasn't there for either of them. I only showed up to this event to try to meet Nick Diaz, the brother of Nate. Reason why? Well, Nick Diaz is the person that created the iconic Joe Rogan intro.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night. All day.
Now, my purpose of being at this event was to meet Nick Diaz and convince him to say the iconic saying 10 years later. You see, I was able to sneak down to the main floor of the venue after buying nosebleed tickets. Once I spotted Nick Diaz up at the barrier, I figured that it was my chance to approach him and ask him the question. But following the judge's decision of his own blood brother losing right in front of him, he wasn't in the mood. But that didn't stop me from trying to approach him, going against the crowd, hopping over chairs, and finally getting within talking distance of the man. Now, as I was saying his name, a security guard off to the right started yelling at me, ordering that I go back and away from Nick. Now, I didn't back down like a bitch. In fact, I backed down like a bitch. I moved back instantly. The second he started yelling at me, I didn't hesitate. I moved back. I even said sorry. I moved back 2 seats from Nick and still shouted his name in hopes that he would turn around and be willing to listen to me. And he did. He turned around, but he did not listen to me. Hey, Nick! Wow. Nick! I have a question. Oh. Damn. It's for Joe Rogan. His brother just lost, I don't blame him. I was right there, dude. That one guy told me to get back. And that right there was the second failure I experienced through this series. I even made this custom t-shirt for him that has a picture of himself on it saying the phrase. That wasn't enough, which is why we drove back home and I hung my head through a noose in my closet because I didn't want to do this shit anymore. No, but actually I did hang my head over a piece of paper and a pen as I was writing down my next video, which was 5 days later back in Dallas, Texas at a convention called QuakeCon. Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty gay. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with QuakeCon, it is a gaming convention that consists of hundreds of people all sitting in one big warehouse playing games. Now, what business did I have showing up to a random gaming convention? Well, Rogan himself was addicted to the game Quake.
Is it true you used to spend like tens of thousands of dollars on high-speed internet to play a video game better?
I spent a lot of money having a T1 line installed in my house.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
To play what?
To play Quake.
What is Quake?
So this was the game I really started with, was Quake 2. These kids who play this game, and maybe even adults, they get so damn addicted that they learn all the maps inside and out. It was so addictive. I had a quick cold turkey. My addiction got re-sparked again. We were playing 2, 3, 4 hours a day. I was starting to have Quake dreams. It was really weird. Like, I'd have dreams that I was going down corners and dodging rockets, and it's just, that game is so immersive, and it's so, you get done with it, and your heart is pounding. Like, me and Jamie and Jeff would play, and then when it was over, we would all be out of breath.
It was a past vice of his that most people do not know. So I chose to head to this convention, talk with the people, and hopefully enter a tournament for the game Quake. Okay guys, we have made it to QuakeCon. Ironically enough, the hotel that is hosting this event is called the Gaylord Resort. I swear it's called the Gaylord Resort. Are we going the right way to the convention?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Dude, they have bag check. The Mac 10's in here. Once I walked into the event, I immediately realized that this is probably the place with the least amount of social interaction, mainly because everybody is sitting at a desk with headphones on playing a game. Yeah, there was absolutely no content here. I tried approaching people, the lighting was trash, nothing went right. Absolutely nothing. So with that idea flopping hard, you would have thought that I would have gave up at this point. But instead, I chose to be like Rocky and keep on getting back up and get punched in the face over and over again. Because the only thing that was going to take me out of this series would be that one knockout punch. But before we get to that, I filmed again. 2 days after the QuakeCon failure, I decided to go and meet with a random man in the middle of the woods who owns wolves. Now the reason I went there was because this episode specifically revolved around the beasts that Joe Rogan loves talking about, which are apes, grizzly bears, and wolves.
The bear caught up to the moose and broke its back
With a slap.
Shit. Just bang! Fucking crazy 800-pound silverback bursting through the trees. Gets right in your face. He's got fangs and he only eats vegetables.
So while these people are blindfolded, I'm going.
Did they record it?
Oh yeah.
Now, I promise you, I tried my best to encounter an ape and a grizzly bear illegally or legally, didn't really matter. But it was either too much money or not feasible. So I settled for the next best option, a wolf dog. A wolf dog. Yeah, I didn't actually meet real wolves. In fact, they were a half-breed of a wolf in the wild and a regular domesticated dog that stays in your house. But either way, I chose to head there by myself and film my experience meeting these wolf dogs.
Lost out, beat up, dancing, pounding.
So this is Osa and Lupin.
Osa and Lupin. Hello, Osa.
Well, you can go in. We're gonna go in
Oh,
there.
okay.
And you can get some good close-up
Man.
shots with her. You can go ahead and go in.
Thank you. I'll let her get to know me. You smell me, understand who I am. This one's Lupin.
Yeah, this is Lupin.
Lupin. Whoa.
Oh.
I know it's all good, dude.
Again, it's just the camera. He's a little.
Oh, okay. He's worried about it.
Nervous about it.
It's all good. I'm a friend, not a foe.
Here, I'm gonna give you a few to give
Okay.
to them. You
Just put it on palm of my hand?
Yeah, just flat palm.
Osa, come on, trust me. There you go. There you go.
Lupin's, he was DNA tested, I think 36% wolf.
Okay, so he's
a
like
lot of husky. So he's on the lower side.
Yeah.
Osa's actually a mid. She was in the 50% range.
So whenever you're standing over them, it seems like a kind of like a power thing.
Well, kneeling down makes you less intimidating.
Yes.
So they get more comfortable.
Now, I'd have to say, out of everything I filmed for this series, this was probably some of the best footage I got. I got videos of me feeding them, petting them, and most importantly, trying to befriend some of the dogs. And on that day, I drove back home happy with the footage that I got and just thinking about how the rest of this series is going to go. So fast forward 1 week, on August 19th, where I booked a flight to Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, that's a sentence that nobody has ever said with a smile on their face. Now, why Massachusetts, you may ask? Well, for 2 reasons. 1, it's Joe Rogan's hometown. And 2, there was a UFC event happening in Boston. I thought to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by flying down to his hometown, attending the UFC event, and trying to meet him during the fights. And I thought the best way to increase my chances at pulling this off was to dress like Rogan. And right then and there, I was ready to head down to the venue. Do you watch Joe Rogan at all?
The guy, the fighter, you mean?
He's bald. He takes psychedelics. He likes monkeys, apes. You don't watch him? No. Okay. What's your name, by the way?
Edwino.
Edwino? Quick question. Who would win in a fight, a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla? Grizzly bear? Yeah! Fist bump, fist bump, fist bump, fist bump. Come on. There, that's 5 stars right there. See, I say grizzly bear every time, but I see people that say gorilla, and I just don't understand their mindset. It's like they're on fentanyl or something. I don't understand it. You gotta love the sound of sirens. Be honest. Do you like my outfit, yes or no?
Huh?
Do you like my outfit?
Yeah, it looks good.
I think I can hop out now, if you don't mind. Abrino?
Yes.
I appreciate that, man. It was nice to meet you as well. I'm gonna explore. Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast all night. Yes. I see you, man. I've made it to the UFC just in time. I got my Joe Rogan drip on. We're about to go inside. I'm going to meet Joe Rogan. I promise that's gonna happen. Since Rogan is a commentator for the UFC, he is directly sat in one of the most heavily secured parts throughout the entire venue. So my chances of trying to sneak through Fort Knox security were very slim. I'm currently sitting in the nosebleed seats. It's very hard to spot where the announcer's table is, specifically wwhere Joe Rogan is, because there's a bunch of men with no hair and they all look the exact same from this point of view. So I'm just gonna have to wing it. Me wearing an identical outfit to Rogan wasn't gonna be enough. So just like the baseball episode, I chose to bring in a custom flag. This is what I brought into the venue. This exact flag. I snuck down to the best seat that I could find, which was located right next to an opening. But unfortunately, there was a security guard manning that entrance throughout the entire card. I flew thousands of miles of home in the middle of Boston, Massachusetts, spending a bunch of money that I barely had at the time, trying to meet Joe Rogan at the UFC event. And it withered away. Now there was one saving grace throughout that entire night, and that's a fan who recognized me as I was walking through filming.
What's good, bro? I follow you on YouTube.
You do?
You do the face rug shit?
How'd you know that shit?
Yeah, what's good? I'll take a
Oh, it's
picture
fucking sick. 100%, man. I appreciate that, for real.
Oh God, I follow you on Instagram. I lost my voice.
Appreciate that, man. No, I love that. What's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi? My name's Armor. You already know that, but.
Thank you, bro. Nice meeting you.
No,
Keep up the good work, bro.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
That was a weird handshake, but you know.
Cool.
All right. Dude, I got recognized by a fan. Even if I don't get close to Joe Rogan tonight, I met a fan, and he came out to me, and that means a lot. That's the coolest part of tonight. I took a picture with the guy, not because he asked for one. I forced him to off camera, so it made me look like I was a celebrity. And I sadly headed back to my hotel. And to add insult to injury, it was a La Quinta. I didn't pull it off, guys. I didn't pull it off. I'm almost having the same feeling as I did with the whole Nick and Nate Diaz situation. Everything that I do during this series, the good, the bad, the successes and the failures, is going to just lead me to getting on Joe Rogan's podcast and him noticing my dedication. But just like every time before, my filming days did not go how I planned it. Now, I could have sat and dwelled in my sorrows in the middle of that La Quinta, hearing gunshots and someone getting mugged outside my door, or I could have went to bed, wake up, and film one last time before I left Boston. That's exactly what I did. So on August 20th, the day after the UFC event, I checked out from my hotel and I decided to track down a local pool hall. You see, growing up in Boston, Massachusetts, Joe Rogan would go to local pool halls and watch people play the game along with gamble their entire life savings on the side. And while he fell in love with the game 8-ball.
How did you get introduced to pool?
I hurt my ACL.
Okay.
I tore my ACL ligament and I couldn't work out for a while. During the time, I got obsessed with pool. Just fucking obsessed. A buddy of mine worked at a pool hall. He had a part-time job at a pool hall. This guy was my comic friend, John. And then I started meeting really good players. And then I started playing all the time. And then I had a real problem. To the point where my manager goes, I think you're spending more time thinking about pool than you are about comedy. I was like, fuck, you're right. Yeah. I knew he was right. Because I was playing in tournaments like several times a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it was a problem.
I didn't realize
I was playing 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. I was obsessed. I loved it. You know why? because the balls don't give a fuck. If you make that shot, you make that shot. And to keep your nerves together and navigate around the table was a puzzle to me. I was fascinated by it. It helps me a lot with stress because I have so many things going on simultaneously that would require my attention. That if I have an activity, whether it's archery, martial arts, or pool, where you cannot think of anything other than that activity while you're engaging in it, it's very beneficial. Clears your mind.
So I thought it would be interesting if I found a local pool hall and was able to play a game of 8-ball. I got an Uber to the closest hall that I could find. This place felt like the most authentic example of what a real pool hall should look like. I even met the former champion of the Game 3 Cushion, who ran the entire pool hall. That experience was something I didn't forget. After spending 2 hours at that pool hall, I looked down at the time and realized that I had to head to the airport so I could fly back home. Unfortunately, I did fly Spirit, not because I wanted to, it was because I had to. I landed back in Dallas at around midnight. Instead of going on a multi-hour drive back to my home, I chose to spend the night at my sister's apartment in the city. Now, out of all of my losses that I've told you guys up until this point, such as streaking the baseball field, meeting Nick Diaz, going to QuakeCon, and trying to meet Joe Rogan in Boston, none of that compares to the biggest failure of them all, and most definitely the largest contributor to why I quit this series in the first place. And that was on August 21st at around 8 p.m. at night. And I was leaving my sister's apartment in downtown Dallas to go and drive back home. And as I was driving through the city, about to merge on the interstate, out of nowhere, a woman ran into the back of my car and completely totaled it.
Really? Like, really? Like, come on, man. Is my computer okay? Holy shit, is my computer okay? Can't be. Dude, if my computer's messed up, like, define where we are right now?
Yeah.
Yes, you heard me right. A woman ran into my car. I mean, I was okay. Unfortunately, she was okay. I was just driving casually, obeying all the traffic laws, and out of nowhere, this woman who was texting on her phone just runs into the back of my car, going 50, 60 miles an hour, and completely totals the thing. And then the most ironic part is, a woman ran into her. So it's like a train of incompetence, but yet I'm the conductor who did nothing wrong, but somehow reaped the most damage.
I don't even know. I don't even know right now. Hey, man. Thank the fucking Lord.
I was left speechless, wondering why me? Why do we give women the right to drive? I was wondering a lot of things in that very moment. I was sad, disappointed, but most of all, I was angry. Not because my car was just damaged, no. I knew I would get a new one and not have to pay a dime for it. It's because of all the plans that I had for filming this series wouldn't be fulfilled. You see, I was going to drive to 3 different places in the up and coming week once I got back home, but those filming days were taken away. I spent the next 3 months in my house with no car and just a hard drive of an uncompleted series that I would watch every day and try to figure out how I could save it, how I get my cameraman back, and I picked the series up. I was still adamant on pulling this off. There's this one video where after my car crash, I was sitting in my room with my hoodie on, and I haven't filmed anything in months. I haven't edited anything in months. So I chose to set up the camera like this now and speak my mind.
I've never took the liberty of documenting my time ever since the car accident, mainly because, you know, I had high hopes that I would just bounce back from it and that I would get a car instantly and I would be right back to filming this Living Like Joe Rogan series. The day that I'm recording this video on is November 5th, 2023. August 21st was the last time I filmed anything of the Joe Rogan series. Like, it's really sucked a lot. I really wish I could have, you know, videoed more of my time whenever I was just in my room alone. Like that feeling of waking up and you don't have the purpose. Like you don't have a purpose. That feeling really fucking sucks. The days of you waking up, of you sitting here looking at your screen, watching endless fucking videos, eating whatever food that you can get your fucking hands on, and feeling like you're a fucking zombie. This Joe Rogan series is everything to me. And I may or may not include this in the Joe Rogan series. I'm not sure. I just need to make this video because I just went and sat in my bathroom without my phone with no sound for like 10 minutes. Just thinking. And I was just at blank thoughts. I was doing fucking push-ups for a second. And then I got winded, so I stopped. I guess the main takeaway that anybody can get from this video, from this little spiel that I'm going on, is that you need to find a purpose. Because if you don't, you just feel like an empty vessel.
And yeah, I know, I'm self-aware that I'm sitting here crying about my 2024 brand new Honda Civic. Meanwhile, there's people across the globe who are getting bombed and have no food. But for the sake of telling the story, that was the most pivotal event that made me quit the Joe Rogan series. Once I got my car back in December of 2023, I chose to move on from the Rogan series. So I thought of the amazing idea of making a video on Danny Duncan. And let's just say that was a major success. Not because of the views and the interactions, no, that helped, but mainly because of the friendship that I built with Danny off camera.
I tagged you for a reason, because of this. I was building this stall up.
Every day, I think.
Not every day, no, you can't put that burden on me. Look back at it. Look back at it. Look back at it.
I became his intern for 1 month straight, just learning and being a sponge to knowledge and wisdom that he had. And I genuinely believe if I continued down that path of trying to get this series in order, then I would have never met Danny. I would have never filmed my cycling series, me learning how to ride a bike, which I'm currently working on now. I would have never filmed my ranching series, where I stayed a whole month on a ranch seeing if I could survive. If I didn't choose to move on and leave this series in the past, then I can most likely guarantee that I would have been working on it till this day, hoping and dreaming and dumping every cent that I have into curating a work of art, my magnum opus. That right there is the story of one of my biggest failures till this day. I mean, it took me over a year to actually sit down and come to the realization that even though I wasn't able to tell the story how I wanted to, there still is a lesson to be learned in this failure. And that's why I'm talking to you guys now, because this video isn't a last-ditch effort to try to get Joe Rogan's attention and bring me on the podcast, no. And well, to be completely honest with you guys, this entire thing, the backdrop, the lighting, the dramatic storytelling, it was all just one roundabout way of letting you know that I'm back.